Tonight on Reel to Reel, we'll learn how television star Billy Barty has made little people feel 10 feet tall. In Doylestown, Bucks County, discover the unique history and charm of Our Lady of Mount Carmel in tonight's Parish Profile. And Father Bob Curtis drops in for another inspirational message. That's coming up right now on Reel to Reel. Hello, I'm Monsignor Charles Meinhof.
And I'm Adrienne Daly, filling in for Pat Shelton. Welcome to Reel to Reel. Later on, you'll have an opportunity to meet Mr. David Brennan. David is the Director of External Affairs for St. Charles Borromeo Seminary. He'll give us some insight into the formation of the St. Charles Seminary League.
One of the nice things we enjoy doing on Reel to Reel now is our parish profile. It's wonderful to take you to different places in the diocese and make you familiar with the other Christians with whom you share so much in faith. Today will be Our Lady of Mount Carmel, Doylestown Parish. Sharing with other people and other faiths makes us really think about how do you measure other people. You know, we have prejudices and likes and dislikes, so it's very important that we take a very careful aim at other people and see who they are and what they are. As a matter of fact, how do you measure another person?
Tonight you'll meet a young man who is, in fact, the same size as I appear to be right now, seated in this oversized chair. But, as you'll find out, this is only how he will appear in your eyes. He thinks and lives and acts as if he were 10 feet tall.
Hello, Billy. Good to see you again. Say, you just look wonderful here. It's good to see you, Billy Barty. Oh, no. Gifted athlete, writer, entertainer, and actor. Tonight, this is your life.
Over 30 years ago, the famous 1950s TV show, This Is Your Life, offered a retrospective on the life of Billy Barty, a celebration of a career in show business that began at age 3.5 in vaudeville and early motion pictures, a career which continues to this day. But perhaps even Billy Barty himself could not have envisioned that day, that his real work in life was just beginning. For it was in 1957 that Billy founded Little People of America Incorporated, and years later, before he established the Billy Barty Foundation, both organizations dedicated to overcoming the age-old prejudice against little people.
We put out a lot of information about dwarfism, who you are, what can you do, what the parents can do to help their child. We give a lot of talks to schools, colleges too, elementary up to universities. We just do a little bit of everything. We give advice on things that people don't think about.
And our society doesn't think about a lot of things. Not only holding on to its attitudinal prejudices, which whisper that all dwarfs must be freaks or circus performers, but also creating architectural barriers to the successful integration of little people into the everyday mainstream of life. It's a subtle prejudice, this business of subjectively deciding that at some indeterminate height a person becomes an object of curiosity or ridicule. But who among us hasn't stopped to stare, or maybe blurted out, "Hey, look at that midget"?
Kids can be cruel only because they say what they think. They say, "Oh, look at the funny little man," and that's what they're thinking. We have ways of educating the parent and also the child on what to say and what to do. I give talks after talks to schools where there are little people to educate the other kids of what is a little person. A little person is just like anybody else, except they're smaller. They have the same joys, the same dislikes. They cry, they laugh. They're just human beings.
Just human beings. The embrace of that perception is perhaps the key to unlocking any prejudice. There are thousands of everyday people like Joe and Kathy Gibb, the parents of 5-year-old Frankie, who is also a dwarf. And while most dwarfs are born of average-sized people, perhaps Joe and Kathy's advice to their son, because they know firsthand of what they speak, merits being listened to very carefully.
It's very hard for him to keep up with the other children with his legs. So he's not, you're not going to win the races or anything, but, you participate in it and stuff.
Just smile. If you get stared at, just smile at the person back and, just try not to have a chip on your shoulder about it, because there's nothing you can do about it. You have to just, get used to it and be comfortable, So that's what I tell them. I just tell them, just pray to God and just, be the best that you can be, and people will understand.
But Billy Barty determined that it was also necessary for little people themselves to help each other understand.
Okay, first of all, I would like to welcome everyone to our monthly meeting of Little People of America, Los Angeles chapter.
The 21 people who attended the first convention of Little People of America has grown to exceed 1,000 from over a dozen countries. But the lifeblood remains the grassroots monthly meetings that allow little people to reach out to one another.
I met all these people my size, and I loved it. It was like, I mean, there was teenage boys and teenage girls my size. We started writing to each other. We started calling each other out. It was like, wow, there's somebody else out there like me.
Everybody in that group is different. We are little people, but people are different. Even little people are different. They have different professions. They have different outlooks in life. But the main thing that I think most of the people attending the convention have in common is that they have accepted themselves. And that's the most important thing. You have to accept yourself. Then it's a little bit easier for the outside world to accept you.
The achievements of the Billy Barty Foundation are many, from providing scholarships to funding medical research, to designing a unique line of furniture to service the structural needs of the more than 200 different types of dwarfism. But the crowning achievement may well be the faith that fuels the daily effort to spread the word that a human being can only be measured by the size of his heart.
Sometimes I ask myself, why have I done all these things? I couldn't do them by myself. And I strongly believe in the gentleman upstairs, and that we are put on this earth for a particular reason.
And that reason is stated very eloquently in a music video recently produced by Billy and his friends, entitled From Where I Stand.
The song is so positive, and it has lyrics in there written by Marilyn Berglis, and it talks about having love in your heart. And, you know, you're on your way. You're getting closer every day, getting closer every step you take. And with love, you can go far.
From where I stand, the world can be so very beautiful to me. You look at life so differently. You can see what I can see. From where I stand, from where I stand.
I, for one, appreciate very much what Billy Barty just did for me. He helped me to see that, understand, too, that there are differences, and I have to not only to enjoy them, I have to deal with them, but always to respect them.
That's true, Monsignor. You know, Monsignor, if you take the serene atmosphere of Doylestown, attractive land on East State Street, add a dash of revolutionary history, and a cornerstone laid by St. John Newman, put them all together, and you have Our Lady of Mount Carmel, this week's Parish Profile.
Not far from the busy streets of downtown Philadelphia lies the beautiful borough of Doylestown, Bucks County. Well known for its serene atmosphere, the town is the home of many famous and historic buildings, all of which help to contribute to Doylestown's unique charm. One of the most significant and important buildings in the borough, however, resides on East State Street. Here, on a beautiful patch of land dotted with trees, stands the Church of Our Lady of Mount Carmel. The third Catholic church in Bucks County, it was founded by Father Francis George in 1850 to serve the needs of the growing number of immigrants settling in the Doylestown area. The parcel of land on which the church rests was put up for public sale in 1854 and purchased for $653 by Michael Regan, an agent for the parish. Title was taken for the 2-acre lot by Bishop Newman, now St. John Newman, in 1855. On July 31st of that same year, Bishop Newman laid the cornerstone of the original church. The site on which this church was built holds particular historic significance, for it was on this patch of land that George Washington and his troops marched on their way to intercept the British in retreat from Philadelphia. The title St. Mary's was often given to Our Lady of Mount Carmel during its early years, and the reason for this is somewhat unclear. The only explanation dates back to the time when, according to historians, the territory was known as St. Mary's Field and entrusted to the Augustinians of Chestnut Hill. With the passage of time, however, the title fell into disuse and the church became Our Lady of Mount Carmel. In 1876, the second pastor, Father Henry Stommel, started the parish school in an old dwelling in the churchyard, which was the home of the parish's first sexton. Attendance at the school increased at a rapid rate, and soon a new school was needed. The new building was dedicated May 17, 1876, and named St. Bernard's, in honor of Bernard Farron, who donated the parcel of land. The school, which was staffed by the Sisters of St. Francis, continued to grow so much with the passing years that additional wings were added. one in 1950, a second in 1958, and another in 1975. Today, unfortunately, the original church no longer stands, but in its place rests a red brick Georgian colonial-style building, which is the symbol of the parish's continuing expansion. Built in 1967 and dedicated by John Cardinal Crowell the following year, the church blends well with the atmosphere of Doylestown. Inside the church, there is seating for over 1,000. The side transept wings offer an unobstructed view of any activity in the sanctuary, which guarantees that every seat is a good seat. The beautiful stained glass windows which rest on the walls of the church depict the history of the parish, from the laying of the cornerstone by Bishop Newman to the construction of the steeple on the old church. In the back of the church, directly above the choir loft, is the magnificent image of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, who serves as the protector of the church and the parish family. The latest addition to the parish is a charming prayer garden. Said to be the first of its kind in the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, the garden is the new home of the 14 Stations of the Cross, the same stations which were part of the original church. Here, amongst the flowers and trees, one can walk the way of the cross with Christ, and like the women who came to the tomb on that first Easter Sunday, one will also discover that he is not here, he is risen. Although Our Lady of Mount Carmel is a parish which has experienced much physical change in the past 140 years, it is also a community which remembers that it was established to serve the needs of an ever-growing congregation, a task which it has done with much faith and love in the past, and one which it continues to do today.
If you're ever in the Doylestown area, stop by and see Our Lady of Mount Carmel, and let Monsignor Teller know that you saw his parish on Reel to Reel. After these messages, we'll be right back.
Today I'll take a stand. I'm here to lend a hand. 'Cause now I found the key. The change is up to me. It's up to me. It's up to me. It's up to the change is up to me. It's up to me. It's up to me. Today I'll take a stand. I'm here to lend my hand. Now that I can see, the change is up to me.
It's up to us. What are you waiting for?
Many of you know that my principal assignment here at the seminary is director of spiritual director of the theologians. Well, now that's the internal forum, we say, but there's also an external affairs the seminary runs. Meet David Brennan, director of external affairs at St. Charles Seminary. David, it's so nice to have you on Reel to Reel.
Thank you, Monsignor. Thank you for having me.
It's a chance to reach out to people, and that's exactly what external affairs is, I suppose. How would you describe what's the Office of External Affairs?
That's right. The Office of External Affairs really is a twofold office here at St. Charles Seminary. Number one, it is to promote and publicize the Office of Public Relations to get the word out or the message out, the story out of St. Charles Seminary. And secondly, it is the Office of Development is also included under the umbrella of External Affairs.
And many people, I guess, earmark you as being the money getter only, but that's not the story at all.
Oh, no, that's not even half the story.
I remember being with you recently. We met some pastors at the diocese to talk about your office, and especially a new idea of how can we get out to the people in the parishes to tell what St. Charles is really like.
Well, I'll tell you, St. Charles Seminary has so many facets to it that I think the constituencies really don't realize or know what goes on at St. Charles Seminary. And for that reason, the seminary has established what is called the St. Charles Seminary Guild. Quite frankly, it is not a new idea. It's something that was established way back in 1838 by Bishop Kenrick. And the purpose of that was, the bishop's thinking was to establish in the parishes of Philadelphia, which was a very young Philadelphia Archdiocese at the time, I might add, the message of St. Charles. People would volunteer their time and services to help promote and publicize events at the seminary. Now, here we are, present day, 1990, and the Archbishop has graciously given his consent, and I might say, quite frankly, his enthusiastic support to rekindling these seminary guilds, reestablishing the guilds in the parish.
I know, David, when I went here to the seminary, of course, we were in, and that was it. Nobody ever got in or got out. Once you got in, you got ordained or you got thrown out, either one.
Right.
But families never got in. So when I came back here a couple of years ago and we had a reception for our families, my family all flocked out here. And I was surprised because they had never been here before.
You're correct. My background is the Archdiocesan secondary school system. And I think my feeling about St. Charles Seminary, I think, is probably the same as most of the constituency out there. They know that it's a place to which forms priests, helps men become priests, but other than that, they think it stops there, and that is not true at all.
Can we satisfy that curiosity?
Yes, I believe we can, and I think the Seminary Guild is the vehicle to help at least tackle that problem.
How would a guild be formed, David? How do you perceive a guild being formed in a parish?
Yes, we perceive the guild. What we're doing right now, Monsignor, is establishing 10 guilds. We're going to start very small, and we're going to establish 10 seminary guilds. And the purpose of the guild is to help publicize information and events at the seminary on 3 levels: on the college level, on the theology level, and on the religious division.
What can we tell them about, say, the religious division?
Religious division offers an entire program of study in the evening and the afternoon, which I'm sure that the general public is really not aware of. The many, many lectures that are offered here, the series of speeches and so forth that are constantly offered at the seminary, which are available to the public, but I don't think they know about it.
And what about someone who's interested, say, in a collegiate area, might be in the seminary personally as well as informationally?
There is a 4-year college program here, very orthodox sound training, a liberal arts education here.
I was amazed that the night we met the priest, that the one priest had come from Oxford, Pennsylvania. On his way to the meeting, he had dropped off 3 or 5 students from his parish.
Right.
What were they here doing at the seminary? What did he drop them off to?
To inquire about the evening of discernment that we have here through the vocations office. We have that here at the seminary, which people, through Father McCulkin, people do not know about.
What does that mean? If you came to an evening of discernment, you had to join?
Oh, no, not at all. It's just a chance, an opportunity for young men to come out, to look at the seminary, to see what the program is offered here, to investigate, ask questions, and have questions answered for them.
I was impressed, David, recently. Now I'm back here at the seminary again. It's a whole new world for me, a new old world, an old new one. But to see so many people using the facilities of the seminary, for instance, the young people come out for tours. I've seen different groups in swimming. And then I saw the most wonderful experience, a confirmation class coming here for a day of recollection, plus a pre-Cana day. How would that ever be arranged?
That would be an excellent vehicle, again, for the guild to be involved in. We could take the burden, if you like, off the parish, and we could bring those particular events here at the seminary, and it would work out fine. This is exactly one of the reasons for the establishment of the guild.
But we're welcoming. Many people, old-timers like me, say, well, you can walk in another place anymore, not like it used to. I don't think it should be like it used to be.
You're right. It is their seminary. It's the Archdiocesan Seminary. And I think if people get to know what goes on out here, and they realize the many different programs and events, which they don't know what goes on here, they would be more likely to come back and spend some time with us.
And certainly understanding the institution, if I want to use that word, my seminarian friends would like to hear me call it an institution, understanding our school, our theology college and so forth, I think that may help people understand why we need to have wider support. Then the development takes place.
That's correct. And then hopefully when we get the message out or get the good word out, that will generate into support for the institution. That's exactly correct. That's
so it can be altruistic enough, but I think it's an important thing. Our families, I don't walk into your house unless I have some title to walk in there.
Right.
And I can't become part of your house by being any patronizing and say, why don't you do this, do that, until I know you better.
That's right. And that's exactly
I just wish our people could get to know us better.
And so do I. And I think that the Guild, Monsignor, frankly, is a positive step. It's the vehicle, it's the thing that the seminary needs to get that message out, and hopefully in turn people will respond, and we think that they will respond.
There's nothing wrong with this, but it's not just a vocation club. It can be a vocation institution. You realize, David, vocations don't come just from the institution. This is where they get nurtured.
Right.
But the vocations come from the people.
That's right.
That's where your seminary guild will come into effect.
That's right. That's exactly.
How are you making out with the pastors?
Well, I'm making out, quite frankly, very well with the pastors. I have to tell you that it's a tremendously interesting experience for me to go out into these parishes and meet the pastors. An interesting thing I think is happening, Monsignor. I'm going out to the different parishes and I am giving them the good word of St. Charles Seminary, and they in turn, interestingly enough, are giving me the good word of their parish. I'm getting a mini history lesson in the different buildings and when they were built and the people that surround the community and who feeds the parish. So I'm finding it tremendously interesting. Once we get in to talk to the pastor and actually sit down, the reception has been great. We've been very, very well received. They think the idea is a great one, and they're very enthusiastic and supportive.
Would you have somebody available to go to a parish to talk on the guilds at all?
Oh, yes, absolutely. We have a group here at the seminary, we're going to start to spread out a little bit to go to talk to people. We have had an initial meeting already of pastors. We've gotten their cooperation and support, and now we're getting the names from them, and the next step we have to take.
Well, we hope our parish profiles will help you, because we certainly want you to know that the St. Charles Seminary Guild is not just another organization. It is a life in the Diocese of St. Charles Seminary, and a great lifeline we have here goes not only in this seminary itself with the students, but right into your parishes to give you a new life in the priesthood, which we will prepare here, but we need your help in the St. Charles Seminary Guild. Best wishes, David. Good luck with the guild.
Thank you, Monsignor. Thank you for having me.
I'd like to tell you about a program unique to the Diocese of Trenton. The Maternity and Adoption Services of Catholic Charities has established a medical fund which provides counseling, medical services, food, clothing, and shelter for women facing an unplanned pregnancy. By offering these services, they can support the doctrine of our faith and allow women to make the positive choice of life for their unborn children. But they can't do it without your help. Please call 609-394-5181 and pledge your donation to save a life.
Nutritional Developmental Services of the Archdiocese of Philadelphia has the perfect alternative to ordinary Christmas cards, the Alternative Christmas Card Project. Buy Christmas cards from NDS and help stock emergency food cupboards in the Philadelphia area. Available this year, a 10-card assortment pack for a minimum donation of $10, with a lovely Madonna and child card for a minimum donation of $1. For more information, call Nutritional Developmental Services at 895-3470. Take part in this unique way to extend the blessings of the season.
We welcome your comments, suggestions, and donations and encourage you to write us at Reel to Reel, St. Charles Seminary, 1000 East Wynwood Road, Overbrook, PA 19096, or call us during regular business hours at 668-9842.
To be a fine artist, it takes a special talent to be able to distinguish the differences between shadow and light. But as Father Bob Curtis tells us, when you're looking for a way out of your soul's darkness, sometimes illumination can come from a vigil light.
I'm attending one of the most creative and innovative art exhibits that you're ever about to see, and the remarkable thing is that everything here is done by senior citizens. Right now, we're going to meet some of them and see their works. Just a few of the 160 seniors in this show wandered down memory lane. Most of them strongly reflected contemporary styles, such as this abstract by 89-year-old Nathan, who took up the brush a mere 4 years ago.
It meant to me that everybody loves me and that I can go ahead and do something no matter how old I get.
This is a juried exhibit. That means that the seniors had to compete for the honor of having their works hung here in this show.
I was doing little flat-faced things, and now my art really looks alive.
You're pleased with it?
Oh, yes, very much.
After 40 years as an aircraft mechanic, Ethel Davis brought a vivid and creative eye to mailboxes. At age 79, Ben Bronson sculpts beautifully, as this piece demonstrates. I asked Ben why he had not made a lifetime career of this marvelous talent.
Well, we're worried when we're younger. We have to provide for our families and make sure that we have enough for ourselves, unless we're very wealthy, and I was not wealthy. This is the best time of my life.
Because of your art?
Because of my art.
The man who created this remarkable exhibition died just before it opened.
My husband, Louis Joel, felt the seniors underestimated themselves and felt this would be a good way for them to have their work shown, build up their appreciation of their own work, and have the community understand them.
In tribute to his memory, Sylvia created and hung a painting of her own.
I'm Doris Winkler with Senior Update.
In 1 Kings, Elijah challenges the priests of Baal to pray to their idol. They do, and we're told no one answered, and no one was listening. That is a terrible, terrible feeling, that no one answers and no one listens. It's a feeling of aloneness. It's a feeling of being lost in a void. It's a feeling of being in the dark, not knowing where you are, calling out and hearing nothing. To listen to someone and answer them, you must be truly present to them. That's why there's always a little enclosed candle burning near every Catholic tabernacle. We call it a vigil light. And what it says is that the consecrated Christ is present. I hear over and over and over again the story of people who, after a time of unfaith in their lives, make a quiet visit to a church and feel in the silence a presence. And that's why the vigil light is there, because He is there.
I certainly enjoyed all the parts of this program, and I hope you did too, especially having the chance to have a guest back with me, somebody I know, and you give me the welcome to bring somebody with me all the time.
And we do owe a special thanks to David. Originally, we were scheduled to have Bishop František Lobkowicz, who's the auxiliary bishop of Prague, Czechoslovakia, as our guest today. However, Bishop Lobkowicz had to cancel at the last minute. We do hope to have him on a future program, though.
One thing I enjoyed too, and like you, I'm disappointed about the bishop, but I'm sure he'll be coming to see us, but the point I enjoy so much is the parish profile.
Mm-hmm.
David mentioned them, yes.
I like them too also, Monsignor, and I'd like to thank everyone who has expressed a special interest in the parish profiles, people at the parishes that we've already covered, and people have also called in and asked if their parish could also be profiled on Reel to Reel. I think it's important that everyone know that if there is a parish that you'd like to have a copy of that profile, please just give us a call. We'll be happy to give you that information.
It doesn't have to be an old parish, does it, Adrienne?
No, it doesn't. As a matter of fact, Monsignor, we're doing parishes in the Trenton, Camden, and Philadelphia Archdiocese.
But it'd be wonderful to see people start a parish. So maybe someday you'll start yours, and start what you do, start it here. Goodbye now, and God bless you.
Good night. Thank you for watching. Travel arrangements for Reel to Reel by Atkinson and Mullen, Newtown Square, PA, 215-359-5980.
Are you looking for a spiritual gift to give to a priest, friend, or relative?
We have just the book you need, The Power of David's Key.
It is a book of stories about how Jesus touched the lives of many people.
Call 215-668-HOPE to order your copy.